So yesterday I decided I was going to step up my video game a little bit. Now that I have the new GoPro 9, it will record much better quality video than the old GoPro. It will do 4K video, 60 frames a second, and it's just amazing quality, as you saw in some of my video from yesterday. The problem was I was up half the night editing the video because I had to edit it on my laptop. The PC that I brought down here to Florida, it's a Dell Optiplex. It's a business class PC. It's a few years old, so probably several years old, but it's an i7 processor, 32 gig of RAM. It has a SSD hard drive in it. It runs great. Haven't really had any problems with it. But then when I tried to play the videos from the GoPro, they were all choppy and jittery. Couldn't play them, and I just couldn't figure out what the problem was. It looked like my disk usage was real high, CPU usage was real high, anytime I was doing anything with those videos. So I copied them over to my laptop and it worked fine. And my laptop is about 4 years old probably. It's an i7 16 gig of RAM with a 256 gig SSD hard drive, but it worked amazingly. And I thought, wow, this is kind of odd. So I ran the performance check on my systems, and I'll put the link to where you can find this in the video description down below. It's a utility. You can get it, download it, and run the free version. I don't know how many times you can run it or if it's a limited time trial or whatever, but it runs through all these things on your system and tells you basically where your system ranks and what the performance is. And I'm going to show you what I saw when I did this to my 3 computers, the one here, the one back in Louisville, and my laptop that I have here with me. So let me switch the camera around here and show you this. So here's the performance of the PC I have here. You see it says it's in the 21st percentile, pretty low. The score is down here, overall score 1879, and then it breaks it down by CPU, graphics, 3D graphics, the disk, the hard disk, the 2D graphics, and memory. I logged into my computer at home, which is a newer gaming PC. It has a Ryzen processor, I think 32 gig of RAM and an SSD. It's built much better than this one. And here's what I got there. 6844, all the numbers. You see there the CPU mark 22,243. The old PC I have here is 5,500. 2D graphics 991. My old PC here is 219. 3D graphics 8800 as opposed to 1330. Memory 2700 as opposed to 2540, so not much difference there. Disk performance 12,449 to 2414. So I thought, oh wow, this has got to be the problem. This PC is just too slow, but it just didn't quite make sense to me. So I ran the same thing on my laptop, and look at this. 1919, 23rd percentile. The new PC back in Louisville, by the way, it's in the 83rd percentile. I didn't mention that up there. And then look at the numbers down here. Not that much different from my PC here. So let's talk about technology and get technical for a minute. Talk about this problem with my computer. This PC that I have here, it's a Dell Optiplex. Like I said, it's several years old. I'm going to say it's probably about 5 to 7 years old, and I'm one of these guys that I do not need the newest, greatest thing out there. I need what I need to do the job, and really nothing more than that. So if I have something's adequate, I don't run out and buy the newest thing. But this computer, it's an i7 processor. Like I said, 32 gig of RAM, SSD hard drive. It works great for generally everything. I don't have any problems with performance or stability or anything like that. It's running Windows 10. It's missing some kind of component that it needs to be able to run Windows 11, so I haven't upgraded it, and I can't. But it's been fine. Now I get this new GoPro, has these new video file formats, these HEVC formats, because I wanted to go up to 4K videos, start filming things in much higher resolution and quality. Even if I render it down to 1080p for HD quality, it's still you're better to have a higher source than what your result is. It just comes out with better video. Now, this is a case where the technology and hardware could not keep up with the new technology, and it wasn't able to play it. The HEVC format is a better compression standard than what the older video file formats were. Now, the way I narrowed down what the problem was with the video card was I found a converter and converted the video from 4K HEVC to 4K AVC, or H.264, I think it is, and it worked fine on the computer. And it was just, like kind of stunned at that. Went to Dell's website. The most current drivers are 4 years old, so they quit developing drivers for the video card. I was hoping maybe new drivers would help that. Went to Intel's website to get the drivers for that particular Intel video chipset. When I tried to install it, it detected that it's a custom PC, not a regular Intel video card that's in it. It was a custom device. Would not install the newest drivers from Intel. I have a feeling that if I could have, that may have solved the problem, but I can't get anywhere with it. So my choices were to replace the PC or upgrade it. Upgrading it means getting a different video card, and then the power supply, and it's not large enough to handle the extra components, so I would have to upgrade the power supply too. So I was looking at probably around $250 to $300 upgrade. I found a what's called a mini PC. It's one of the little boxes. It's like this big. That has it's very similar to the specs on my PC at home. It's a Ryzen processor, 16 gig of RAM, SSD hard drive. People, all the reviews on it, people are using it for gaming and things, so the performance on it should be fine for what I need to accomplish now. It's just unfortunate. I wouldn't expect it to spend $350 a day on a PC, but that's not a bad price. It's going to come with Windows 11 on it and everything pretty ready to go. So in a couple of days, this will, I'll be over with. But I wanted to talk about that advancement of technology where things in technology advance to the point that drives the need to buy new hardware. In the early 90s, when I first got into computers, I used to tell people when I was selling computers at a Sam's Club, you can't buy a PC that's fast enough back then. Every PC you bought that was faster simply ran faster because the software was slower, made the PC slow down. And it was just like buying a bigger, faster car. You could always spend more money and buy a faster one. There was always a new one coming out that was faster. And back then, I used to tell people that one day hardware will surpass the software, and it won't matter really what hardware you have or how new it is, it probably won't run the software any faster, if that makes sense. Now, what I didn't think about back then was advancements in other technology like this video and the internet and things like that wouldn't really mainstream back then, and what it would take to run those. This is a case where I wanted the newest technology for video. Want to be able to film in the highest. I could change my GoPro to just record in HD quality and it'd be fine, but I want to be able to use what I've paid for with the camera, so now I have to replace the PC. I also have a MacBook down here. Here's another example of technology, and this really kind of bothers me about Macs. This Mac is, again, a few years old. I think it's maybe a 2015 model. Very similar specs. It's an i7 processor, 16 gig of RAM, SSD hard drive, runs great. However, I cannot install the latest version of the operating system on it because Apple dates the machines, and once they get past a certain date, you can't upgrade the software on them. I think it would probably run the latest operating system absolutely fine. I don't think there's anything in that operating system that would cause that system to have problems. However, other things may. So, is it good or bad? They're forcing you to upgrade and buy something new. And in one respect, you look at it and say, well, that's just their way of making you buy more stuff, make it spend more money. But on the other hand, they're kind of looking out for us too, because they know that at some point that technology is still going to be usable for the most part for basic things. But if you really want to do anything advanced with new technology, new things like the video that I'm struggling with, you're going to want a newer machine to do that. So I don't know. It's there's two ways to look at that, I guess, and figure out which one what is best for you. It frustrates me because I don't like being forced to do something without planning it or having a really good valid reason, and it just kind of vexes me a little bit when I have to do that. It kind of reminds me of a story. This will tell you what kind of person I am. I drove a Chevy Tahoe for about 10 years. It was the same Chevy Tahoe. When I traded it in, it had 305,000 miles on it. It had basically the top half of the motor was rebuilt when the timing chain broke at 248,000 miles. But it started, it ran, the air conditioning worked, and I drove it every day, and drove that thing for years. A few years ago, when our company started to see some success, and I started to get out more and have more business dealings and meetings, I went to a business meeting one time, and I couldn't take the CEO of a probably $700 or $800 million company out to lunch. We didn't ride in my car. I rode with him because I was embarrassed to take him in my car. So the next week I came back and I traded the vehicle in and got something nicer. That bothered me that I had to do that for that reason, and just because I felt like I was playing the part. That's just the way I am. I need what I need to do the job and nothing more. I don't need the latest, fanciest, flashiest thing, and that's the case here with computers. But I'm kind of forced to do this. We had the same problem with our internet at the old company one time. We had a cable modem, and by all rights, by the size of the company we were by that point, we should have already upgraded to a fiber internet connection. But the cable modem kept going down over a couple of week period, and I was forced to go sign the contract to get fiber installed to stabilize everything so we could ship product. And then I come to find out that the cable company located their problem after I had, made such noise with them, and they had a problem in that neighborhood that I kind of uncovered for them and showed them, and they were able to fix it. But by that point, I'd already signed a contract for the fiber. It's probably a good thing because we needed to be on fiber anyway for the stability and the speed and everything. I just hate being forced to do things when I'm not quite ready. And that's just the way I am, I guess. But troubleshooting PC, performance issues. Like I said, I'll put the link to this benchmark utility down below, and you can download it. You can run the free version at least once. I don't know how many times you can do it, or if it's a time trial, but it would be a great thing for you to look at on your computer no matter what you're doing. If you are struggling with certain problems with your computer, I know a lot of people with design space they struggle, and a lot of times it is computer performance related, even though the computer works okay with everything else. And here's a good example. This computer works great for everything else, but when I try to play those particular video file types, it can't do it. So if your computer is several years old, or if you didn't spend much money on it, sometimes you get a lower end processor, things like that. This benchmark utility will help you identify possibly where you're lacking, and you may find out that the CPU is slow, or maybe there's not enough memory in it. Maybe your hard disk is too slow to transfer data, and if certain things happen on a computer, the CPU, the memory, and the hard drive are the three components that kind of work together, and if one of them has a problem, it causes the other's utilization and usage to shoot real high and slow your system down. So typically the hard drive is the slowest of the three. It's always the slowest of the three, actually. But with SSD hard drives, they're much faster than the older hard drives, were what we call spinning disks. And but a lot of computers still have spinning disks in them. So, run the utility, check your system out, see what it's like, and I guess I'll clear everything off this computer and put it on Marketplace and see if I can get $50 out of it or something. So that's the story of my life, upgrading constantly.